Mr. Chairman. So, service members enlist to protect our country from foreign adversaries, but President Trump seems hell-bent on deploying our troops to American streets and against our own neighbors. This is extremely dangerous for our communities and for our democracy, and it is costly for the DoD and for our service members as well. According to the Congressional Budget Office, Trump has already spent $500 million on domestic deployments. And my investigation found that DoD spent over $2 billion in taxpayer money on immigration enforcement in 2025. Now, that is money that is coming straight from the military's budget for things like repairing military barracks, training our soldiers, repairing schools for service members' children. DoD took this money from our service members, even though the agency that is responsible for immigration enforcement, ICE, is swimming in a budget that is bigger than most other countries' entire military's budget. Now, Mr. Ditlevson, you're nominated to be the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense and America's Security Affairs, and you're serving as a deputy in that office right now. How much of the $2 billion do you expect to get back from DHS?
Senator, I appreciate your concern on this issue, and it's something that we're working towards on a daily basis.
How much do you expect to get back?
At the beginning of this fiscal year, FY26, the Secretary worked out a policy, issued a policy saying that all support was on a reimbursable basis. And on a day-to-day basis, Senator, that's what we prepare up to the Secretary for decision.
Do you expect to get it all back?
Senator, everything is on a reimbursable basis, so we expect to chase that down,
well,
but we...
I have to question your everything. DoD and DHS have no reimbursement agreement in place for FY 2025. So it appears that DoD won't get back the billions of dollars it handed over to ICE that year. Money meant to fix barracks with sewage overflows is just gone. Now, in December, when asked about domestic deployments, you told this committee, quote, "I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this is not having a negative effect on the military's readiness or budget." But an internal National Guard of the deployment, an internal study of the National Guard of the deployment in D.C. noted, quote, "fatigue, confusion, and demoralization, a, quote, wedge between citizens and the military. National Guard members have told reporters that this is, quote, not what I signed up to do, and that they feel ashamed to wear the uniform, and that they plan to quit." So, Mr. Ditlevson, do you still think, quote, "without a shadow of a doubt," that deploying the military in American cities has no negative effect on readiness?
Senator, I'm unfamiliar with the report, but I'm going to take that back with me and dig into it. And if confirmed, I absolutely will be looking at that seriously, because we always want to make sure that our support is appropriate for the mission.
You haven't heard any of this? None of this in your role? You've been sitting there in the office every day since the deployment. You haven't heard any of this?
Senator, I've not heard any feedback like that from the National Guard Bureau. I work closely with General Nordhaus, the chief of the National Guard Bureau, and he has not expressed concern over the deployments to Washington, D.C.
And that's your only source of information right now?
Senator, he's the person I engage with most on this particular issue, Brigadier General Blanchard.
You may want to widen your aperture for getting information here. Look, the stakes are high, and I fear they're only going to get higher. President Trump recently said that he should have used troops to seize ballot boxes in 2020, and many Americans worry that he'll deploy the military to intimidate voters this fall. Mr. Ditlevson, do you think it would be appropriate to station troops next to polling stations?
Senator, I'm aware of the statute that governs the deployment of troops next to polling stations, and I want to emphasize that our focus is always to protect American citizens. And so for any deployment of the National Guard, no matter what that may be, that is always going to be our number one objective, is to make sure that people are safe and secure.
So You are nominated for this position. I'm just asking, do you think it would be appropriate to station troops next to polling stations? A simple yes or no?
Senator, it's speculative, the question, and I don't want to speak about what threat levels may exist during an election cycle.
I have to say, if you're not willing just to say no, it is not appropriate, then I have real concerns about you in this job. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Under the statute, would that be your call, Mr. Ditlevson?
Mr. Chairman, we would provide policy advice after speaking with the National Guard Bureau and the Joint Staff, looking at the threats in the United States, and then, of course, going to the Office of General Counsel to ensure that anything we provide to the Secretary is lawful. We absolutely will make sure that the Office of General Counsel is heavily involved, and they are there every step of the way.
It would not be your call, though, would it?
No, Mr. Chairman, that would go up to the Secretary, and he'd be advised by legal counsel on what he can do lawfully.
Thank you. And thank you, Senator Warren.